and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Where are we, is what you're wondering. Well, we're at the intersection, that's like an American word, that takes you up Russian Road if you go to the right, or if you go to the left, you go into downtown Cato Paphos. And we're on that inner ring road, and our next little focal point is going to be the Paphos Mall roundabout. So there you go, feast your eyes and digest. Up there in the skies is the Paphos Sky Walk. That's that nice little walking structure that takes you up to give you some spectacular views down towards the Cato Paphos harbour and promenade area. And of course, if you turn the other way, you get to look up to Midtown and even as far as Uptown Paphos. Great views indeed. Now, Paphos Mall roundabout, which of course means the silver building over there on the right hand side, is the Paphos Mall. And the Paphos Mall, by the way, to give it its correct title, is the King's Avenue Mall. So why is it called the King's Avenue Mall? Very simple indeed. This little road here is King's Avenue, hence King's Avenue Mall. Now, on the left hand side, that's the Roman Hotel, and of course there's just too many businesses, restaurants, bars and shops and all that kind of thing to mention on this street, so we'll just mention one or two. You got the Green, she's stealing my English even when she's not with me. You got the Green Corner pub. Unfortunately, Mr. John, Miss Louise, it's closed down and it's not going to reboot until around about March, but don't worry, the Pit Stop, which is even closer to your downtown Tomb of the King's apartment, is still open. So you'll be able to pop in there for a gentleman's sour or something even stronger if you wish. And you never know, sitting on the next table may be the one and only, the superstar known as Mr. Nigel Big Guns down in a gentleman's sour as well. And of course, sitting next to her, well, you never know, him, sorry to insult you, Mr. Nigel, will be the so sweet Caroline. Now, bit of tradition, I mean, we've got a new year, we're in the third week now, so normally out comes the honours list. Now, there's a few been added to it this year. We've got the Viscount Mr. Paul Butler, we've got Sir Jeremy the Elder, and we've got Sir Jeremy the Younger. Now, I thought it was about time. I know they've got titles, you know, but I thought we'll make those titles that little bit more special. So, from now on, there is a man called Mr. Nigel who will be known as Lord Nigel Big Guns, and of course his partner in crime, so sweet Caroline, from now on will be known as so Lady Caroline. There we are. That's the promotions done with. Let's get back to the little movie. And before we start, Mr. Allen, knock it on, make sure it's plugged in at the wall, get it speeded up. Let's get up to 2 or 3 miles an hour and have a nice leisurely walk, or brisk walk, shall we say, up in the Derbyshire Dales. Anyway, who's on the breakfast sofa today? Miss Dawn, Mr. Sean. I've no doubt that Mr. Roger is holding on to Miss Anne. And of course, I've no doubt that Mr. Sean is hanging on to little Miss Daisy. Miss Daisy, if you're wondering, temperature a little bit chilly, 16 degrees. And as you can see, the sky is, well, it's not that blue. The sea is not that blue. But don't worry, Mr. Paul is dressed head to toe in blue. So all that's actually missing is you. So get yourself on a big bird or a canoe and start paddling like crazy, because Cyprus is quite simply waiting for you. So we're coming to the end of the Tomb of the King's Avenue, and the focal point is a roundabout over here, and at that focal point, if you were to take a left, you will actually go into the Tomb of the Kings, and that is the archaeological site. That's the place where apparently in olden times they buried some kings, but apparently they weren't kings, they were just people who were hierarchy, shall we say, the Gumbarus on the island. Maybe they are relations to the man who likes to park his black Mercedes on double yellow lines and chevrons across to a school. The Gumbaru #1, the mayor of Paphos. To be honest, he's a good guy. He really is. He's doing some good things for Paphos, but unfortunately he has to knock 7 bells out of the place first. There's been various comments about the harbour. Unfortunately, they're digging it all up. But when it all gets put back together again, well, it should be a lot better, and hopefully they will reconstruct the fronts of the restaurants, and they won't be allowed to encroach quite so much apparently, but it'll be more organised and a more pleasant experience for everyone involved, from the owners to the staff and of course to the customers. And the food will be just as good and the sun will be just as bright, and you're going to have a spectacular holiday when you come out in the summer. So don't worry about it, Mr. Paul, all the way over there in Bristol. I'm pretty sure by the time that you and Miss Mo get on the big bird and fly into downtown Paphos, sneak yourself up into Peyia, cuddle down, and then the next night pop down to the Cape of Paphos Harbour, it will be absolutely spectacular. And Mr. Paul and Miss Marika will be dancing the chuchuchka especially for you. Now, on the left hand side coming up now, that's the Aspire School. So that's a fee paying school, a private school, a public school, whatever you choose to call it. And if you've got a couple of bob and a couple of littlies, that could be the perfect place to send them, because the curriculum is in English based curriculum, and hopefully, unless your children are like me, they'll come out well educated. As my father used to say, I spent an absolute fortune on school fees for you, and all I ended up with was an idiot. And he would be right. There you go. If he was here now, he'd be laughing. Wherever he might be, he probably is laughing as well, because I thought the world of my father, by the way. I really did. The greatest man possibly to have ever lived, and he thought the world of me. He just understood that I was a complete and utter idiot. But luckily, through life, I haven't done too bad. I've always managed to earn just enough money, and I've always managed to keep my head just above water, and I've still got that little bit of skin on my bottom. Anyway, Miss Linda Blink, you're more than welcome to come to the wedding. The invitation is in the post. You let us know where you live in downtown Paphos, by the way, and we'll come and sleep under your bed, and of course then we can reduce our electricity bill. Because if you're wondering, Mr. Doug, yes, the electricity bills in Cyprus are quite high. I mean, I understand they're quite high everywhere in the world, but our bill currently is around €150 a month, and then during the peak season, so let's say from May till the end of September, it's up to about 600 at the moment. Well, it was last year. Who knows what it's going to be this year? Why is that? Well, it's quite hot in downtown Cyprus, so we have to have the aircon, and I like to have two of them on because, of course, I'm British. So, where are we now? Well, you've got the Pentaris Taberna restaurant on the left hand side there, and we are actually in downtown Clorica, by the way. So if you want a wedding function or something, quite popular with weddings and christenings, by the way. And then in and around here now, they're building an awful lot of villas, and as someone pointed out, most of them are around about €1 million. So you're going to need a couple of bob if you want to buy somewhere in downtown Clorica. On the right hand side, that's Premier Electrical. So if you want to buy a Rampant Rabbit or a 50-foot TV or something like that, that could be the perfect place for you. This now coming up is the St. George Crossroads, the St. George traffic lights. And it's called St. George because if you were to go left at the traffic lights, you would go straight into the St. George Hotel's main foyer, out the back door and straight into the blue Mediterranean Sea. Same applies over here. This is the Leonardo Lara Beach and Splash Resort. Go through its front door, walk out, wake. I'm losing my English. Marika is stealing my English even when she's not with me. Walk out the back door and straight into the blue Mediterranean Sea, although it's not that blue today, and to be honest, it's probably a little bit cold. I don't think I'll be going in there because my twin brothers, well, they won't like it too much. So, Sir Jeremy, Sir Simon, are you looking forward to coming back on your holidays? Because your idea for car therapy, I think, is absolutely amazing. But I also think that the viewers won't get to learn a lot or hear a lot, because all we'll be doing is chuckling and laughing our heads off and probably crashing into cars and walls, because we're going to be in absolute hysterics. You and me and you sitting in a car talking a load of old, well, there you go. Right, next place on the block is going to be downtown Kisonaga. And in downtown Kisonaga, again, guess what? They're building lots of nice villas. Again, you'll need a bit of chump change, somewhere around $1 million or more to buy one. There's a couple of hotels. There's a nice beach, by the way. And of course, there's quite a few shops. And on top of that, you could pop into a showroom just down here and buy a classic Mercedes S-Class. Yep, he's back on that one again. There's two of them parked up in a showroom on this parade of shops over here. Unfortunately, one of them is the Mark 1 and the other one's, well, it's a little bit Sherlock Holmes, so we're not going to bother with those two. But there are a few around and we are hunting one down. Now please drop it in the comments. I understand that most people don't give a damn about cars, but there are a few. Mr. Chris, he's commented that he's got some classic cars and he's going to come out to Cyprus and he would like to see us wibbling and wobbling and wiggling and waggling around in a battered old classic Mercedes, and hopefully we don't get left stranded at the roadside, or if we do, let's hope that the walk is not that far. So here we are, parade of shops either side. IKEA Gora supermarket, you've got a hair salon, a fish shop, you've got over there a grooming place for your dogs, you've got Florida pools for some pool chemicals, and you've got Paphos computers if you've got something wrong with your laptop. Over here, what have you got? The Wraith coffee shop, and another coffee shop over there, another hair salon. I think you're getting the idea. There's quite a lot of bits and bobs around. Coming up on the left hand side now is the Atlantica Mare Village Paphos. Quite a big resort indeed, and quite new. It only opened about 18 months ago, so to be honest, this is actually going to be its first real summer season coming up. So if you're looking for somewhere special to stay, that could be the special place for you. Now, as we drop down this hill, this is what's called the Cassoniga traffic lights. So we're going to keep going straight to Peyia and the Coral Bay area, but if you were to sort of turn back on yourself and go right, you would go into Uptown Cassoniga. So that's the older part, and again there is a newer part, but that's where you would be going. And eventually you'd work yourself up into Midtown and Uppertown Paphos if you kept wiggling and waggling. On the left hand side there, that is the Bay Watch kiosk, and it's open 24 hours a day, so if you're out doing burglaries and that kind of thing at night and you need a coffee to keep yourself alert, that could be the special place for you. Again, on the left hand side now, that was See You Beach Bar, and at the moment, well, it's not seeing you at all because it's closed, but don't worry, it'll reboot in around March, and it's a spectacular place to go and lounge around, have a nice drink, cocktail, coffee, can of Coke, or possibly even a can of dare I say it, Pepsi Max. Oh my God, Pepsi Max, terrible thing. But if your name's Miss Andrea, of course you do like it. Terrible stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go and wash my mouth out with soap when I get home, that's for sure. Now, I'm sure you can see out through the left hand side of the corner of your eye that there's a little bit of chopsy mopsiness going on in that sea, which is not very blue, and it's licking and a lapping the coastline of downtown Cassoniga, because that's actually still where we are, and of course it's kissing the coastline of downtown Coral Bay, which is just over yonder to the left. So we're going to get into Peyia very shortly, and how do we know that? Because at the end of this stretch of road there is a sign on the right hand side in white with big green letters that tells us welcome to the municipality of Peyia. So now if you want to go to a dam, I'm not even going to try and say it, but if you take a right there and wiggle for a couple of kilometres, there is a very big dam. Quite a nice place to go and gather your thoughts, quite tranquil, and if your cat needs a drink of water, well, take her with you. So Miss Daisy, if you're missing the Cypriot water, that could be the perfect place for you and Miss Dawn and Miss Sean. Mr. Sean, I apologise, I'm confusing my misses and my misses and my misters today. And again, I apologise to Miss Nigel, because your name is now Lord Nigel Big Guns Carter. We're looking forward to seeing you in April, by the way. Hopefully you haven't unsubscribed, and hopefully the wonderful Miss Ellie will invite me for a nice drink of Coke, but not Pepsi, that's for sure. Did you hear that, Miss Andrea? So where are we? Here we go. This is downtown Peyia. We're actually going to take a right now and wiggle and waggle up into the area known as Peyia. So I'm going to say thanks for watching, and if you do like what you see, please hit the like, click subscribe, and why not come back for that little bit more of my complete and utter lunacy. And you never know, you might learn something on the way. Now, if you really want to watch the channel grow, please consider going through to our About page, where of course you can consider buying us a coffee. I'm dying of thirst, I need a coffee, and we'll convert it into benzene, which is petrol, put it in the tank, and of course we will continue to bring you some great driving videos in and around the Paphos area. So thanks for watching.